please face me and raise your right hand? Sure. Do you solemnly state the testimony you may give in the cause now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Please have a seat and stand. And for the record, say and spell your first and last name, please.
Tracy, Tracy Racavich, R-A-C-A, V as in Victor, I-C-H.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ma'am, did you fly in from, is it New Jersey to testify in this case?
Yes, New Jersey.
All right. How is it that you are employed today?
So I am employed by a company called International Flavors and Fragrances as the Global Benefits Director.
Okay.
I'm sorry, ma'am, can you just move the microphone
Oh.
a little closer? Thank you.
How long have you been the Global Benefits Director for this company?
It'll be 3 years in October.
Okay. And before this job, were you at a similar organization or in a similar position at another company?
Yes.
And where was that?
Prior to that, I was at a company called Bausch & Lomb.
Bausch & Lomb, they make eyewear and
Correct.
lenses?
Yes.
And were you the benefits director there as well?
Yes. Correct.
Okay. And prior to that?
I was at a company called Church & Dwight in a similar role.
Okay. And prior to that, where were
I
you?
was at Coty.
Okay.
Correct.
So when you worked for Coty, what was your title or position, please?
I was Senior Benefits Manager.
And for what part of the company?
The U.S.-based operations.
Okay, for all of the U.S. operations.
That's correct.
And so where were you based?
New York City.
Okay. How many years did you work for Coty?
About 3 years.
All right. And as the senior benefits manager for the entire U.S. operations for Coty, were you responsible for certain types of benefits
Yes.
for the employees?
Correct.
And what type?
So oversight over health benefits, so medical, dental, prescription, life insurance, and also retirement benefits as well, so 401k, things like that.
Okay. So in terms of your position, did the company contract with a particular life insurance company to provide life insurance benefits to its
Yes.
employees? What company was that?
MetLife?
And as the senior benefits manager, were you responsible for assisting employees yearly when they enrolled for the following year for their medical, dental, life insurance, retirement, things of that nature?
Yes, during annual enrollment.
All right. And in addition to assisting the employees with their enrollment, were you also responsible for processing any death claims through
Yes.
MetLife?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Now, given that you manage the life insurance, retirement, and the health and welfare portion, were you also responsible for managing any stock options through the company?
No,
Okay.
that was handled by another department.
And was that handled more at a local level?
Yes,
Did you know somebody by the name, or do you know somebody by the name of Henry Meyer?
I do.
Okay. And how did you know Henry?
Henry was the local HR contact in the Woodland Hills office, so he was my colleague based in California.
Okay. And so in terms of managing the stock options, equity, pay, compensation, things of that nature, would that have been handled at the local level by Henry?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Did you also know somebody by the name of Janet Cover?
Yes.
And was she somebody who worked under Henry?
Yes.
Did you ever meet somebody by the name of Fabio Sementilli?
I did.
And when did you meet him?
During the transition, when Cody purchased Wella, we had educational benefit seminars to talk about the new benefits Cody was offering, and he had attended one of those.
Okay. And so you were here in the Los Angeles area, in the
Yes.
Woodland Hills area?
I believe it was Woodland Hills.
Okay. And was that sometime maybe in May or June of 2016?
Thereabouts, yes, approximately.
Okay. So was that a seminar where you would have, again, been assisting the employees in the Woodland Hills office with the new benefit package that was being offered by the company?
That's correct.
All right. Showing you People's 13, do you recognize who you see here?
Yes, that's Fabio.
Okay. Now, after you you met him at Wella, this was during, you said, the integration process, correct?
Yes.
Did you have multiple communications with him about his benefits in order to assist him in enrolling for the new year, which would have been the 2017 enrollment?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Your Honor, I have an email exchange that appears to be 18 pages in length. May it be collectively marked as People's 92?
Yes.
There appears to be a red 1 on this first page at the bottom left. Do you know somebody by the name of Deborah Stroff?
Yes.
And who is Deborah Stroff?
She was my manager at the time.
Okay, so she was above you,
Correct.
and that was at Cody.
Yes.
And looking at this first page of Exhibit 92, is this a basically a reintroduction from Deborah to you and Fabio together?
Correct, yes.
All right. And was this the beginning of an email exchange, as we discussed, of you assisting Fabio Sementilli in enrolling for his 2017 benefits?
Correct.
Showing you the next page, People's 92, which is page 2 at the bottom left. Is that first email occurred, it looks like, on April 8th of 2016, and according to the email at 1:47 p.m. Showing you page 2 of this email exchange. Does this appear to be an email between you and Fabio, as well as Deborah and Fabio's professional assistant, Alicia Truesdale, on April 9th, following day?
Yes.
Okay. And in this particular email, you are the two of you trying to set up an appointment so that you can discuss his benefits?
That's correct.
And were you introduced to Fabio? Did you know him as the Vice President of Education for Wella Salon?
I believe I knew his title, yes.
Showing you page 3 of this email exchange. Is this an email that you sent to Fabio with some information in order to assist him in reviewing the new benefits that were being offered through Cody?
Correct, yes.
Showing you page 4. Does this include some of the information that you sent to Fabio in terms of Cigna, so health benefits, dental benefits, things of that nature?
Yes, it's a benefit summary.
Okay. So these are documents you actually sent to him, correct?
Correct.
Showing you page 5. Is this another set of pages that you sent to Fabio to review regarding dental, vision, and other benefits that he could enroll in?
Yes, it is.
Showing you page 6, or what's marked as page 6, and looking at the top left, again, are these some of the documents you sent to Fabio to review for enrollment in terms of his various benefits as well as on the right side.
Correct, yes.
Showing you page 7. Is this an exchange between you and Fabio that took place after you sent those documents on April 12th regarding any P&G disability program?
Yes.
Okay. And on the following day, showing you page 8, is this a conversation or a response that you sent to Fabio regarding having met with him the day prior on April 12th?
Yes, it is.
And in this particular email exchange or response that you sent him, you discussed RSUs. What's an RSU?
Restricted stock unit?
Okay. So in this particular email, you were talking about the RSU vesting, whether or not if he left the company at some time prior to vesting, if they would be forfeited and things of that nature. Is that right?
Correct. And I had worked with Henry to complete these answers as he handled the compensation information locally.
Okay.
Yep.
And then you also talked about severance at the bottom.
Yes.
Showing you page 9 of this Exhibit 92. Is this a email that Fabio sent you on April 20th regarding disability?
Yes.
Okay. And did you send him a response that we see on page 10 clarifying that the disability plan's benefits don't include a cost of living increase?
That's correct.
Okay. And this was an exchange that took place on April 21st at about 5:22 in the afternoon or the evening?
Correct. The morning.
I'm sorry, a.m. Looking at the following page, page 11 of People's 92, is this a response that Fabio sent you a little later that same day where he attached some disability option that he had prior to the company being integrated into Cody?
Correct.
Showing you page 12 of this document is this, and I'm going to turn it sideways, the document that Fabio had sent to you regarding his 2016 benefits on April 21st of 2016.
Yes.
And in terms of his benefits in 2016, it appears that he had life insurance plus he had purchased 5 times his annual salary, including his 1-year annual base pay, correct?
That is correct.
So prior to 2017, Fabio, had he died, would have been receiving 6 times his annual salary?
Yes.
And do you know what his annual salary was?
At the time at Cody, it was about $222,000 a year.
Okay. So in 2016, again, if he had died, it would be 6 times 222,000.
Correct.
And showing you the following page, page 13, was this the second page that went along with page 12 with respect to his beneficiaries for his life insurance?
I believe so, yes.
Showing you page 14 of Exhibit 92. Was this a responsive email that Fabio sent you at about 7 p.m. that night after he read through the disability program?
Correct.
Showing you page 15 of Exhibit 92. Is this a response that you sent regarding what Cody offers in terms of long-term disability on April 25th, 2016?
Yes.
And then in this particular email, did you also discuss with him that he had some questions regarding the 401k portion?
That is correct.
And again, that would be a retirement benefit,
Yes,
correct?
correct.
That you would have managed.
Correct.
Showing you page 16 of Exhibit 92. Is this a response that Fabio sent you later that same day, that morning at 9:02?
Yes, yes it is.
And so in this particular email, he was asking specifically about life insurance, his 401 contributions, and whether they were being automatically deducted from his paycheck, and also he wanted some information on the pension program, correct?
Correct.
That also would be a retirement benefit, correct?
That's correct.
Showing you page 17. Would this be a response that you sent him again later that same day on April 25th regarding life insurance, dependent, whether or not he could purchase dependent life insurance for his spouse, his children? You mentioned the 401k, and the fact that Cody offers a 401 instead of a pension plan.
That's correct, yes.
Okay. And then in this last page, page 18, is this an email that Fabio sent you later that day regarding a 3.5% contribution from Cody?
Yes.
What was that referring to? What was that conversation that you
Sure. So the 3.5% was in addition to your own money you put into the 401k and employer matching contribution. There was an additional 3.5% contribution based on his age. The contribution differed by employees' ages.
So on top of whatever the employee puts in and on top of whatever the company matches, there is a percentage on top of that that's added on for depending on your age group.
That is correct.
And if we go back to page 6 of Exhibit 92, this document that you sent him at the bottom, is this what you're referring to where the percentage depends on his age group?
That's correct.
And so if he was in the age group of at age 49, that's where the 3.5% gets added on.
That's right, yes.
Did you, again, review with Fabio his 2016 benefits as opposed to now what he was changing over to in 2017 and what would be comparable?
Right, the differences in changing companies and the benefit offerings.
Your Honor, I have a 2-page document with respect to 2016 benefits for Fabio Sementilli and his family. It has a date at the bottom right corner of 4/21/16. May this document be marked as People's Exhibit number 93.
Amen.
Thank you. Showing you Exhibit 93. Again, were these the benefits that Fabio, you reviewed with him with respect to his prior selection, including his medical plan, life insurance, and on the second page it looks like, again, life insurance and whether there's any retirement.
Yes.
And this document again reflects that in 2016 he had signed up to receive 6 times his salary.
That is correct.
Did you provide Fabio with some of the documentation that you sent him information regarding life insurance and accidental death and dismemberment insurance?
Yes.
Your Honor, I have a 3-page, excuse me, I'm wrong, a 4-page document that is titled Life and AD&D. May it be marked, please, as Peoples 94.
Yes.
Showing you Exhibit 94, looking at the front page of this document. Is this a document that you sent to Fabio Sementilli with respect to what he could enroll in for 2017?
It is.
Okay. Showing you the second page, does this appear to be information regarding the life insurance plan?
Yes.
And the third page, again, all the specifics with respect to this life as well as accidental death and dismemberment plan.
Yes.
And the final page, insurance plan claims.
Yes.
And then did you go ahead and assist him with enrolling in his benefits for the year of 2017?
I believe he may have enrolled on his own. Was just clarifying questions about the differences in coverage.
Your Honor, I have a 3-page document that is the 2017 enrollment record for Fabio Sementilli. It has an August 2nd, 2017 in the bottom right corner. May it be marked, please, as People's Exhibit 95.
It may.
Showing you Exhibit 95, the first page. Were these the benefits that you managed that Fabio had enrolled in for the plan year of 2017?
Yes.
Okay. Showing you the following page. And along the left, we see terminated. This is a document that was printed post-death, correct?
Yes.
So at that point, there was no more coverage because he had passed away.
That's correct.
Okay. Looking at this second page, if we look at the second portion down after vision where it says basic life insurance, does this indicate, again, what you managed and discussed with Fabio, that he had enrolled for 2 times his annual salary of, which would be doubled, would be $444,000?
Correct.
And on top of that, did he also sign up for supplemental life insurance for an additional $222,000?
Yes.
And on top of that, did he also sign up for not only 2 times his annual salary from the accidental death and dismemberment portion of the policy, but as well for a supplemental accidental death and dismemberment?
Yes.
And in this document, did you also manage the portion where Fabio listed out who his beneficiaries were?
Yes.
And again, as you talked about one of your emails on the last page of Exhibit 95, the LTD.
Yes, he has some questions on that.
Okay. So this was his the benefits that he enrolled in based on your conversations with him and the benefits that you managed for him through the company.
Yes.
So let me ask you. About another set of documents. Your Honor, I have a 7-page email chain. The first page on the bottom left is a number 24. May this 7 pages be marked as People's 96?
Yes.
Starting with the first page, you can see that this came from Fabio's email, correct?
Yes.
To somebody at palmati-mo@hotmail
Correct.
with an attachment, correct?
Yes.
Showing you the attachment, first page of the attachment. Do these appear to be the same documents that you sent to Fabio regarding the health insurance?
Yes.
Showing you the third page. Does this appear to be the same documents you sent to Fabio regarding choosing benefits and dental?
Yes.
Showing you the next page. Again, does this appear to be some of the documents you sent to Fabio regarding dental and vision?
It is.
And on the following page, again, let's see if there we go. More documentation you sent to Fabio regarding vision and other benefits.
Correct.
And this portion at the bottom, does this appear to cover what we just discussed with respect to the life insurance benefits and the AD&D insurance?
Yes.
And the following page, does this appear to be, again, the documentation that you sent to Fabio regarding, as we discussed, the supplemental life insurance, the supplemental accidental death and dismemberment, and the supplemental AT&T benefits you sent him?
Correct.
And the bottom half, does that appear to have that same chart that we looked at previously in the documents you sent to Fabio that discussed the 401k managed by Charles Schwab, where you indicated Fabio at age 49 would fall into the 3.5% provision on top of the company match?
Correct.
And the final page of that email, all of the companies that manage the various portions of the benefits and their contact info.
Yes.
So that actually includes phone numbers, emails for MetLife and Charles Schwab, as well as the medical plan.
Yes.
Your Honor, I have another email chain. This one is 2 pages in length. It has a 26 and 27 in the bottom left corners. May these be marked, please, as People's 97.
Very well.
Showing you the first page. Again, an email from Fabio to one of his beneficiaries, as we saw on the prior documents, Monica Sementilli, at that same email address, kamadimo@hotmail.com. Does this appear to show his elections or enrollment in the benefits that you assisted him with for the 2017 plan year?
Yes, it does.
Not including, including healthcare, but also at the bottom, the basic life insurance of 2 times salary.
Yes.
Okay. And on the second page, where there's a 27 at the bottom, does this page appear to also cover the basic accidental death and dismemberment, again at 2 times salary, plus the supplemental AD&D at 3 times salary,
Yes.
as well as other types of benefits.
Correct.
Now, after your assistance to Fabio to enroll for the 2017 benefits, did you receive some information on January 24th of 2017 that Fabio Sementilli had died?
Yes.
And did you have conversations on January 24th and days thereafter with the local HR reps at Wella in Woodland Hills, being Henry Meyer and Janet Cover?
I did.
Okay. And what were you, as the senior benefits manager in New York, were you personally responsible for processing any and all claims that would be made on the life insurance policy for Fabio Sementilli?
Yes.
And were you also, therefore, responsible for collecting all documentation to put together a package if a claim were to be made to MetLife for the life insurance benefits?
Yes, I was.
And was a life insurance claim made by the employee Fabio Sementilli's wife, Monica?
Yes.
And when did you receive the documentation indicating that a claim had been made by the defendant, or excuse me, by Monica Sementilli on her husband's life insurance policy?
I believe it was like late January, shortly after he had passed, to share the information for her to fill out.
A document that, a set of documents that starts with a life insurance claim form to MetLife. It is 21 pages in length. May it be marked, please, as People's 98.
So marked.
After receiving the information in late January that the decedent's wife, Monica Sementilli, had made a claim on her husband's life insurance policy, did you put together a package including her claim to send to MetLife for payment?
Yes.
Did that include the claimant's claim form or statement form?
Correct.
Also, did that include a death certificate,
Yes, it did.
an employer's statement?
Yes.
And had you ever, or did you ever speak with Fabio Sementilli's wife, Monica Sementilli?
No.
Okay. That would have been the responsibility then of the local reps?
Correct. Those conversations were funneling through Henry and Janet.
And so did you speak with them frequently regarding the status of the life insurance claim?
Yes.
Did they contact you on a regular basis regarding the status of Monica Sementilli's claim?
Yes. Inquiring about the payout.
Okay. Does the documents that you submitted back to MetLife not only include what I just mentioned to you, including the death certificate, but also a breakdown of what we saw in prior exhibits of the purchases made by Fabio Sementilli regarding life insurance and the percentages that he applied to his 4 beneficiaries?
Yes.
And did you submit the claim to MetLife after putting all the paperwork together on February 13th of 2017?
Approximately, yes.
Okay. Showing you the first page of People's Exhibit 98. Is this the first page of the life insurance claim form that you filled out?
Yes, this is the employer statement.
Okay. And the second page, is that also a portion that you filled out?
Yes.
As the employer statement?
Yes.
As well as the third page?
Yes.
And at the bottom of the third page, did you identify the dates of the various selections Fabio had made regarding life insurance?
Correct.
And does this go back to a date when he first, since it says 2007, became an employee of the company?
That's correct. It's his date of hire.
And then did you, in the far right column, did you indicate what the amounts would be of those benefits when you add them up?
Yes.
And on the fourth page, is that your signature?
Yes.
Okay. And the next portion of the document, is this the portion of the claim that is filled out by the claimant, in this case, Monica Sementilli?
Correct.
Okay. And this is what was sent to you by Henry and Janet regarding the person who was making the claim on the life insurance policy.
That is correct.
And once a claim such as this is made by one of the claimants or one of the beneficiaries, no other claim has to be made, correct?
Correct.
Did you ever receive a claim from Luigi Sementilli for his father's life insurance?
No.
So the only person that made a claim was, in this case, Monica Sementilli, the defendant.
Correct.
And then on the last page of the claimant form, is that the signature of the claimant along with the date she signs?
Yes.
Okay. And following that, what do we see here in this document?
I believe this is the death certificate.
Okay, and you said that was a portion of the package you had to put together?
Correct.
And the following page again, proof of death certificate?
Correct.
From a funeral home?
Yes.
And then the last several pages, those appeared to be similar to what we looked at with respect to the selections Fabio Sementilli made for 2017 in terms of his life insurance and the breakdown where he gave percentages for each of his 4 beneficiaries, correct?
Correct, yes.
And the person, the main beneficiary of this policy was in fact his wife, correct?
Yes.
She got the largest portion in all of the different sections of the policies he bought.
That is correct.
All right. And those ranged from 40 to 45%, depending on which portion of the policy we're talking about,
Yes,
correct?
that's
Whether
right.
we're talking about the AD&D or the basic group life insurance.
Correct.
And then on the following page with the supplemental AD&D, we see that, again, she is the main beneficiary taking 50% of the supplemental AD&D and 40% of the supplemental group life insurance.
Correct.
And the pages after that would be the same documentation that you assisted Fabio in filling out that we saw in Exhibits 96 and 97 that he sent to his wife in May and October of 2016.
Yes.
I'm going to check that call for a conclusion.
Total.
And as we go through again these pages, it sets out all of the selections that Fabio Sementilli made with respect to his enrollment, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And then at the back of this set of documentation appears to be the insurance claim form. Again, would this be your email address and phone at the time?
Yes.
Okay. And then once you put all of this documentation together, what do you do with it?
It's submitted to MetLife to process.
Okay. And once it's submitted to MetLife, is it no longer within your realm of responsibility?
Correct.
Okay. Bless you. Of your experience handling these type of benefits, including life insurance, over the years that you've done this at various companies, does the life insurance company require, in a case where somebody is murdered, that law enforcement also has to weigh in on before payments made?
Yes, that's a common.
Sustained.
Are you familiar, based on your experience with life insurance, that in certain cases, law enforcement also has to provide information to the insurance company?
Yes.
Did you receive information that, with respect to this particular case, that law enforcement was going to have to weigh in?
Yes, that there would be needed information, more information from them.
And is that referred to sometimes as I think it's called like a Slayer Statute?
Similar, I believe. Yeah, that they would need something from a law enforcement official because the death was not natural.
Okay. And in those cases, and as in this case, law enforcement has to clear all the beneficiaries?
That's correct.
At some point in time, do you receive, and did you receive, as the senior benefits manager, documentation from MetLife regarding payments that had been made?
Yes.
Your Honor, I have another document. It is titled MetLife. It says Notice of Claim Payment at the top. May it be marked as People's 99.
Yes.
Showing you Exhibit 99. Is this a document that you received that was sent to you through Cody from MetLife to your attention?
Yes.
And is this document dated July 10th of 2017?
Yes, it is.
And does it indicate that 2 checks were paid out from MetLife?
Yes.
One being to Luigi Sementilli, and another being to both Jessica and Isabella Sementilli, as is mentioned in the document itself.
That is correct.
Okay. And does this document indicate that payment by MetLife was only made to 3 of the 4 beneficiaries on Fabio Sementilli's policy?
Yes, it does.
And does it also appear to be, in terms of the amounts paid, consistent with the percentages that Fabio Sementilli delegated for his beneficiaries with respect to his life insurance as well as his accidental death and dismemberment policy?
Yes, approximately.
And so here we see that MetLife paid out a total claim of approximately $914,000.
Yeah. Yes.
Your Honor, I object. That misstates the evidence.
It's overruled.
Made out of speculation. That's the truth.
I understand that. It's overruled.
Sounds like I need to take
Give the jury a break. Are you almost done in your direct or no?
I am almost done. I only have about 5 minutes, but if you want to take the break, we can always finish after.
5 minutes is fine.
All right. Was any police report ever filed with you by the LAPD to send to MetLife?
No.
Based on the purchases that Fabio Sementilli made in 2016 for the plan year of 2017, did he, in terms of the supplemental AD&D policy, did Fabio basically max out all of the coverage possible?
He did.
And in terms of the optional life insurance, the supplemental policy that he purchased, that would have been, again, an additional buy-up provision,
Yes.
correct?
Correct.
In this case, did you determine, based on the percentages allotted, the amount that would be owed by the life insurance company, MetLife, to the spouse, in this case, Monica Sementilli?
Yes.
And what was that amount?
$777,000.
Okay. And was there also, in addition to that, a salary that was being paid for a 6-month period, checks 2 times a month to Monica Sementilli?
Yes.
And so if that was half of his salary, that would be somewhere around gross, maybe $120,000.
Approximately, yes.
So if we were to add all of that together, we would be talking somewhere in the neighborhood of maybe a little more than $877,000.
Yes.
And would that include any other policies, or let's say if there was an international stock option plan or something of that nature?
No, that would be separate.
Okay. So that would be on top of the $877,000.
Correct.
Would that include, let's say, the value of his airline mileage?
No.
Would that include any vehicle or vehicle loan?
No.
Would that include a family residence?
No.
Would that include any bank accounts or stock options through the company?
No.
And in addition to the salary that you were responsible for paying out for the 6 months after Fabio's death, was Cody, through you, also paying for health insurance for his spouse Monica as well as his daughters for the 6 months following his death?
Yes, we were.
I have nothing further.
Let's take our morning recess for 15 minutes. The admonition applies. See you back here in 15 minutes. That's fine. Thank you.
you.
So basically, you were the maven, the one really in charge of all the benefits for the company. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And the company was Wella eventually?
It was Cody.
Cody.
We purchased Wella.
Okay. And P&G was a parent company at one
Yes,
time?
Wella was owned by P&G.
Okay. So you're no longer employed by Cody?
Correct.
At the time then, did you work with anyone else in terms of providing benefits, negotiating benefits, anything of that nature?
So I had at the time 2 direct reports who supported me, and in terms of like negotiating prices, we had brokers and consultants that helped with that.
And did any of them work on the matters involving, or this case involving Fabio Sementilli?
No.
So for all the information that we want or are trying to gain concerning his benefits, you're the one?
Yes.
Okay. You moved out here about the same time that he transferred here as well?
No, I'm based in New Jersey. I worked in the New York office.
Okay. But he came out to California for a purpose you knew?
I didn't.
I'm sorry? I'll allow it.
He transferred from Canada here to Southern California, is that correct?
So he came from P&G and I was Cody, so I didn't necessarily know all of that employment history because he was Heritage P&G and I was not.
Okay, so when did you first come in contact with Fabio Sementilli?
At the benefits education seminar we held in Woodland Hills.
Okay. And this benefits education seminar, was that just for Fabio Sementilli or was it for other employees?
It was for the entire location.
Okay. Here in Southern California?
Correct.
About how many individuals are we talking about?
Maybe 50 to 100 approximately, if memory serves.
And the purpose of this was to educate them about the benefits that were available from Cody?
Yes, the benefits were changing from P&G to Cody to, from Wella to Cody, to show the benefits we were offering.
And either they would be accepted or the individuals had a right, I assume, not to continue to work for Cody.
Right. Well, you could enroll or not enroll if you didn't like the coverage.
So this was a standard procedure?
Yes.
Okay. After the seminar, was there a certain period of time that the employees had to make their decision as to what benefits they wanted to enroll in and what they didn't?
There's usually a formal open enrollment period for about 2 weeks, and I believe it usually runs in the October-November timeframe.
Okay, this is 2016?
This is 2016.
Okay. And are you aware of how long it was before Fabio Sementilli made his decisions concerning his selections?
I do not.
Okay. Where would those, how would he make those decisions? Would it be something he would fill out or orally tell someone or what?
It was online.
Okay. And for what period did, and I'll stick to Mr. Sementilli, what period did he have, how much time to make those decisions?
It's usually 2 weeks.
Okay. And if you don't make them within 2 weeks, I assume you find out what's going on.
Yeah, it's either you default to certain coverage or you have no coverage if you don't take any action.
So you have to take action in 2 weeks to not risk losing the coverage that is being offered.
Correct.
And this coverage was different than the coverage that had been given prior to this time.
Yes.
And without getting too subjective, I assume, can you tell us, was it better coverage?
It depended. There were some wins and there were some losses. So some benefits were richer and some were not as rich as what they had.
Would you be able to tell us basically which ones those involved?
No, I don't.
Did it have to do with health coverage, dental coverage, that thing, or was it more IRA, he had an IRA, is that correct?
So we didn't offer IRAs, but the HR, the benefits team, looked at everything holistically. So it would have been, was medical better under P&G, was dental better under P&G, but I don't remember the specifics of which benefits were better or worse.
Were all the benefits different than had been in effect prior to this time?
I believe so. Some may have been the same. I believe so.
All right. Now, some of the benefits that were being offered could be increased based on whether he wanted it to be 1 time or 2 time or 3 times his salary, things of that nature.
That is correct.
And for what benefits did that apply?
There were buy-up or supplemental options on life insurance and accidental death and dismemberment, which is AD&D.
Okay. And in the terms of speaking specifically of Mr. Sementilli, he decided to increase his coverage, am I correct, when it came to the basic life insurance as well as the accidental and dismemberment?
Correct.
And if I'm not mistaken, you were shown documents that indicated that under basic life he wanted 2 times his annual salary.
Yes.
And that came to $444,000.
That is correct.
He could have gone up to 3 times his annual salary.
I believe that there was an option for 3 times.
All right. He chose the 2 times.
Yes,
Okay. And that's a buy-in, is that right?
that's correct. He was paying for that coverage.
Okay. Just like you would pay for life insurance yourself.
Right, out of his paycheck, he was paying the premium on
Okay.
it.
And then there was supplemental life. Was there any increase in that?
He, I believe, enrolled at 2 times supplemental life.
Okay. And again, had to buy in
Yes,
and could have done 3 times.
I believe so. I'd have to look at the maximums.
And in terms of the AD&D, the accidental death and dismemberment,
2 times,
and could have done 3
I
times.
believe so.
Now, on the form I'm looking at, and I'm not going to show you the same forms over again unless it's necessary or you need something to refresh your memory. These are, it says on the left side, terminated. What does that mean?
Does it say terminated and there's a date?
Your Honor, I'm going to object and ask what document counsel is referring to.
You're going to actually identify the document, counsel, please.
I'm referring to the document which documents the insurance that was being offered and
Well, there's been items that have been marked. Is this 99 you're referring to, or is it something else that's...
They all have an exhibit number at the bottom.
I will find it
Thank you.
with the help of my co-counsel. Let me see if I can do this without messing it up. You see what has been marked as Exhibit 95?
Yes.
Okay. On the left side, it talks about terminated.
Yes.
Can you tell us what that means?
It's the status of his coverage was terminated. If it was active, it would have said active. So he no longer had benefits at this point.
And this is what he was signing up for, is the new benefits, is that right?
Yeah, so on the right, the effective date of the coverage is January 1st, 2017, and the expiration date is July 31st, which is why the status is terminated. His benefits terminated effective July 31st.
And what does the July 31st, 2017 date mean?
So that was the date Cody had made a provision to continue benefits for a 6-month period to Monica and the family. So that's 6 months is from January, terminating the end of the 6-month period, July 31st.
Was that after his death?
Yes.
Okay. So normally the period of the new benefits would last how long?
So for an employee that passed away not in this manner, or somebody who terminated, I believe they terminated at the end of the month in which the event happened.
Let me start first with when Fabio and the other employees chose their new benefits, if they wished, for what period would those benefits be in effect before they'd have to reapply or change or have an option to change it in any way?
So they'd be in effect for the entire year.
Okay. So in this case, normally, upon the death of an employee, all of the benefits, including salary and so forth, health care, everything that we've talked about here, would terminate after a month.
Yes.
Is that correct? And that was of some concern you learned from Mrs. Sementilli.
I'm going to check calls for hearsay and speculation. Also, assumes facts not evidence.
So,
Read this witness.
excuse me, counsel. I'm going to overrule. If you know, you may answer.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
You became aware that was a concern of Mrs. Sementilli, that these benefits were going to run out after 1 month.
From what I recall, there was concern of caring for the family because of what had happened for an extended period of time or some period of time. So my understanding is HR proposed keeping them active for 6 months as opposed to ending them at the end of the month, which is what would have happened.
And how did you learn that?
I believe it was Henry, local HR, and my manager at the time was involved in those discussions. And I had to implement it on the benefit side to make sure nothing terminated.
Those decisions were not up to you?
No.
Okay. And you were aware that Mr. Meyer and others from the company had actually been at the home of Fabio Sementilli shortly after his death?
Same objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
When you became aware of this concern with health care and so forth, you ended up being informed by Mr. Meyer, I assume, correct me if I'm wrong, or by someone else about the change in policy?
I'm not sure.
You said you advocated for a change in the normal policy where the benefits would run out after 1 month.
No.
Objection, Your Honor.
That misstates the evidence. That misstates the evidence. It was not this witness, Mr. Levine.
All right. In any event, at some point you learned that the policy of Cody was going to be changed.
Correct.
Okay. And how did you learn that?
My manager had, I believe, been in a meeting with Henry and others and said this was the direction we were going in to extend the benefits and pay.
Were you part of that decision?
No.
Okay. But this clearly was a new policy of Cody that had not been in effect before.
That is correct.
If it had not been in effect, then all of the dental care, medical coverage, salary, and so forth would have stopped after 1 month.
Right. At the end of the month. So if it happened in January, it would have been January 31st.
All right. So if the murder took place on the 23rd, it would have run out in about 8 days.
Correct.
Okay. How was Mrs. Sementilli informed of that, if you know?
There was
Again, speculation and hearsay.
I asked if she knew.
Still been speculation.
Thank you, Your Honor. So were there any other changes that were made in terms of the policy payouts?
none that
following-
I'm aware of.
Okay. Now, there was a procedure that was to be followed to make claims for insurance, correct?
Yes.
All right. And this procedure had to be done, a lot of the things had to be done by the one claiming the insurance, is that right?
Right. It was a shared responsibility between the employer and the claimant.
And how did Cody, if you know, provide the claimant with the information on how to make a claim?
I believe the information was emailed to Henry to share with Monica to fill out her portion.
And one of the other persons on the list of beneficiaries was Luigi Sementilli
Yes.
as well. Did you know who he was?
Not until Fabio passed.
Okay. So Luigi Sementilli was one of the beneficiaries. Is that correct?
Yes.
And along with Monica, her two children were beneficiaries as well. Is that right?
Yes.
Did you know that they were minors at the time?
I don't believe I knew their ages. Perhaps after he passed, I knew he had two young children.
And how much time did a claimant have to fill out a claim form and submit it to be timely and to be considered by MetLife?
I'm not sure the deadline to return the information.
You weren't involved in supplying that information to the claimant.
That's correct.
You just know what the amounts were.
Right. And to get the information back.
Okay. Now, in terms of these choices and so forth that were made by Fabio Sementilli, these choices were available for all employees at
Yes,
Cody, is that correct?
that is correct.
And that was the purpose of the group seminar, is that right?
That's right.
The only thing that was different was the change in the salary and so forth,
Yeah, and
and medical coverage and,
right, what was different, but it was the same benefits offered to all employees, no changes or no differences.
do you know which parties made claims on the policy for Fabio Sementilli?
The only claimant statement I processed was Monica's.
Do you know which ones were paid?
I believe Luigi, Jessica, and Isabella received payouts.
And would you know the dates of those payoffs?
Not without seeing the confirm.
Are you aware that Luigi's payout was the first one paid out?
Objection is since fact not in evidence.
Sustained.
Do you know when the children's payout occurred?
I do not.
At the time, were you aware at some point that Monica Sementilli was arrested in this case?
Yes.
And did that affect your role in benefits and in monitoring the benefit payouts?
Other than just knowing that would add the police report to what's required for the application, but otherwise the claim was just in process.
Now, the police report, were you aware at the time of Fabio's death that because it was a murder, that there had to be some police report filed with MetLife before the insurance, for instance, for Monica Sementilli was paid?
Generally, that's the standard practice when something like this happens. The insurance company needs information from law enforcement.
And had you dealt with that before in your role as benefits manager, or was this the first time you had come across that?
This is the first time I've
And how were
directly
you?
been involved.
Your Honor, if the witness could finish her answers before counsel interrupts her.
Very good.
Thank you. How were you aware of that?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the part before?
How
that?
were you aware of the requirements in a case such as this of a police report?
I believe MetLife may have indicated, because we were getting questions on the status of the payment, so inquiring on why it was delayed, it was relayed that we needed more information.
Okay, and did you know what information was, more information that was needed?
I think it was just the police report or police, some sort of documentation by law enforcement.
Did you have any role in seeking that report or in speeding up the process?
No.
So, was that communicated, do you know, to Monica Sementilli?
It was probably communicated to Henry, who was local HR at the time. Whether or not it went to Monica, I'm not sure.
And at some point, you became aware that there was some concern on the part of Mrs. Sementilli as to the life insurance not being paid out because there was no police report.
Yeah, I know she was looking for the life insurance proceeds.
Okay. Just the same proceeds that the children and Luigi were given?
Correct.
Okay. And got?
Yes, and received.
Did you take any steps to try to determine what the delay was?
No.
Why not?
It's really not in my roles and responsibilities. My job is just to fill out the claim, complete the claim, and then inquire as to the status of the delay. But I wouldn't normally get involved in something like that to push it along.
Did you have any communications with MetLife as to what they were waiting for?
I believe it was just the status that they needed something from law enforcement, but nothing more specific than that, that was what was holding up the claim.
Did you make any further inquiries of MetLife as time went on?
No, they were the administrator of the policy, so
And as far as you know, that claim was never made?
as
That
far as I
payment
know,
was never made?
correct.
Okay. When Fabio Sementilli moved here to Los Angeles, you said you became acquainted with him and with the family and the
Objection, again, Your Honor, misstates the evidence, wrong witness.
Counsel, let him ask the question.
Did you become familiar at all with Mr. Sementilli?
No.
Before his death?
No.
Okay, then I apologize. At some point, do you know if a list of the benefits that Fabio Sementilli had sought was provided to Monica Sementilli after his death?
I believe there was a list, again, local HR put together to provide to Monica to show all of the coverages. I had awareness of that, yes.
And that would include the coverages that you talked about here?
Yes, I believe so.
And do you know when she was first notified about the changes in the policies of the company that would allow her to collect Fabio's salary for 6 months following his death?
I do not.
Did you have to perform any tasks to put that into effect?
I believe it was just updating the policy. So when we did it, it was the policy going forward. So I was responsible for updating the policy and then just making sure the coverage did not terminate prior to the 6 months.
You spoke frequently with human resources people concerning the life insurance processing. Is that correct?
Yes,
And you said Henry Meyer was one of those individuals?
that's correct.
Was Janet Cover, C-O-V-E-R, another one?
Yes,
Okay. And again, this was to see what the delay had been or was
Right.
in the payment of the insurance policy for Monica Sementilli. Is
that's
that
correct.
Did you actually receive a document indicating a claim had been made by her on February 13th,
Objection,
2017?
It's overruled.
I believe that's the claimant statement for the life insurance application, the life insurance payout, yes.
And again, that was the normal process in order to obtain the proceeds that he had paid for?
Yes, that's correct.
Were you aware of what was necessary to include in that claim?
Yes.
And what was that?
The employer statement, the claimant statement, and typically a death certificate.
And when you say the employer statement, what would that be?
So that would be who's the deceased, what coverages did they have, date of hire, where did they reside, things like that.
Wouldn't MetLife already know that?
Probably not, because there's no information relaying to them directly other than through the employer affirming that information.
So when Fabio chose, for instance, the 2-time salary as opposed to the 3 times and other choices, with Wella, was that communicated at all to MetLife?
The only time MetLife would be notified is if there was a claim about to be processed.
So in advance, I assume that your company had permission to offer whatever amounts that MetLife would be willing to cover. Is that correct?
Well, the contract, or the amounts he enrolled in were the allowed amounts that the company agreed upon to be offered to all employees.
Okay. So the total amount of life insurance in this case that was due as a result of the death of Fabio Sementilli was approximately $1,691,000, correct?
Yes,
And of that amount, half of that went to his children. Is that correct?
yes, I believe based on the beneficiary designations.
Actually, only 45% was for his spouse. Is
Yes,
that right?
That is correct.
And 55% was for the children.
Yes.
Do you know how much, Fabio Sementilli's salary was at the time of his death?
I believe it was between 200 and 222,000.
Do you know how much was paid out to Monica Sementilli pursuant to the new policy of the company?
Nothing.
What about his salary
Oh,
for
I'm
6
sorry,
months?
about half of that, so
Okay.
about 100,000.
And was that paid out monthly like it would be with a normal salary if he had been alive?
It was paid bi-monthly because that was our pay frequency. I'm sorry, semi-monthly to get paid twice a month, yes.
And for how long, if you know, was that salary in effect?
6 months.
And had he lived, was that a salary that was a yearly salary, which would then be readjusted or negotiated? How long was the contract, if you know?
His salary would have lasted through that year, and there would have been a process next year to do increases on an annual basis.
And is it safe to say, based on his background and information you had, that salary was increasing every year?
I think that's safe to assume, yes.
He was a valued employee.
Yes,
And as far as you know, one of the best employees that the company had.
he had a very good reputation.
And his future was bright as far as you felt,
Yes,
which means that each year he would have received a larger and larger salary in all
I'm going to object, Your
likelihood.
Honor, that calls for speculation.
Sustained.
Each year, would there have been a new negotiating period for all the benefits and salary of the employees, such as Mr. Sementilli?
so I can only address the benefits piece, and that's, yes, we looked at the benefits each year. As far as like the compensation or the salary process, that's probably a question for Henry or Janet. They handled that locally.
Very well. But at the end of the year, would there be another seminar-type situation where the parties would be told what the new benefits package
Yes.
would be?
Yes, that was typical.
And then that could be changed, increased, whatever the employee
Yes,
wanted.
that's correct.
And he could have chosen to increase his insurance to 3 times the
Yeah,
salary. for
correct.
instance. At any time, did you meet with Monica Sementilli concerning any of the benefits, life insurance or any other benefits that were due Fabio following his death?
I did not.
At any time prior to his death, did you meet with Monica Sementilli before he made final decisions as to the life insurance, the beneficiaries, and so forth?
No.
Is it fair to say that he did not have to leave 55% of his life insurance to his children?
Those were his elections that he made.
Okay. Was there a minimum, and if this is not your area of expertise, please let us know. I know
Sure.
there's community property and all sorts of issues. Is there a minimum percent that he had to leave, have dedicated to his wife?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when he sent back the form, the amounts, percentages he had, as far as you know, were proper if he wanted to have those percentages.
Yes, it would have reflected his choices.
And had his choices been leaving more percentage to his wife, that would have been fine as well.
Yes.
You, at that time, operating on behalf of the company, didn't have any rules or policies as to the limit that he could leave of his policy or the percentage that had to be given to his wife or his children.
No, that was the employee's discretion.
Did you know what his benefit package was prior to the move and the company taking over and so forth?
I didn't.
Your job is just to move on with the new company?
Right, to transition them to the new benefits.
If I ask you this, please forgive me. I'm sure I'll be advised. But do you know what amounts were eventually paid out?
Not without looking at the confirmation statement. Roughly, it was the 2 times his salary for the benefits.
And were you aware that the children did not receive their life insurance until after her arrest?
Objection assumes facts not in evidence.
Sustained.
Your Honor, if I could put on the screen Exhibit 99. Of course. That's 98 here. If I could have 1 minute, Your Honor.
No. Just hand it to me. Fine, please.
I've lost another exhibit. This is Exhibit 99. You see that in front of you?
Yes.
And does this refresh your memory as to the payments and when they occurred?
Yes. This is confirmation of the payments made.
And what about when they occurred?
Let's see a date. Unless it's at the bottom, I don't see a date.
Okay, so it does show the amounts paid to Luigi of $259,000. You see that?
Yes.
Jessica of $327,151, and Isabella the same.
Correct. Yes.
But as far as when the payment was made to Luigi and when it was made to Jessica and Isabella, without seeing another document, you would not be able to.
Right. I'm not aware of when.
May I approach the witness?
Again, you can vote without permission.
Shall I refresh your memory? Your Honor, I'm going to object unless she knew to refreshing recollection of something she might not have ever known.
Well, I don't know what counsel's showing. Maybe you can approach and tell me.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Are there not documents that you've reviewed that would tell you the dates that the claims were paid?
It's possible it was on the payment confirmation sheet. There may have been at the top the date the checks were issued.
Okay, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you what is on the screen. Don't say anything about it. Just tell me if you've ever seen that document before.
I don't believe I've seen this one. It doesn't look familiar.
That would not refresh your memory as to when the payments were made?
I don't believe I've seen this before, just based on some of the information. This is new. I'm seeing it for the first time.
On the machine, Guillermo, Exhibit 99. You see that?
Yes.
On the left side or in the middle, it's got the three names of Luigi, Jessica, and Isabella.
Correct.
It's got the amounts. Would that indicate the amounts that were paid?
Yes.
And it's got a date at the top right. You see that?
Yes.
And it says 7/10/2017.
Yes.
And it says, what does that date indicate?
I would assume that potentially that's the date whereabouts the checks were issued.
Now, were you aware that Monica Sementilli was arrested and charged in this case in June of 2017?
Yes.
The dates that checks were issued according to Exhibit 99 is in July.
Yes.
Do you know whether or not those checks were issued to the individuals personally on that list? We'll start with Luigi Sementilli. Do you know if his check was mailed to him or supplied to him?
I believe it.
Check again, Your Honor, it calls for speculation.
Sustain.
Do you know?
I don't know. I can't speak affirmatively.
And do you know whether or not there was a trustee involving the checks to the children because of the fact that this was a criminal case that was filed?
I did not have no knowledge.
So you have no knowledge as to when the children themselves may have received any of those funds?
Just based on the date approximately, that was all I know.
And when it says paid, that means a check was issued to somebody for those amounts, correct?
I would assume, yes.
Whether or not there was any intermediaries, you wouldn't know.
That's correct.
How did you find out that Fabio Sementilli had been murdered?
I believe when it happened, the local HR office, I believe it was Henry or Janet, reached out to let us know, and they had asked for critical support for the employees who were very distraught and upset.
What was your reaction?
Awful, tragic.
You had always had good relationships with him?
I really never met him outside of just that the email exchange and at the group benefit sessions.
You knew his reputation,
I
though,
did.
and I assume it was excellent that
Yes.
you've heard.
Yeah.
What is RSU?
Restricted stock units.
Okay. Can you tell us what those are?
So that's on benefits. That's more of a compensation question. That's Henry and Janet.
Okay, so that wasn't part
No.
of the benefits that you were in charge with.
That's correct.
What about stock options? Do you know what a stock option is?
Same answer. That was it's compensation related, so it was local HR. I was just doing the income replacement, medical benefits. Local HR was handling more of the compensation continuity, including stocks.
So again, just briefly, which benefits then would you be in charge of?
Health, medical, dental, and then retirement.
And the retirement benefits, those were paid in this case, I assume?
So the only retirement I had purview to was his 401k. I don't know the status of his account.
So you don't know if that was liquidated or not?
I don't.
Is that something that could remain in effect even after the death of the individual?
Typically, if the balance is above a certain threshold, it can remain with the record keeper, with the administrator.
And you don't know what occurred in this case?
I don't.
It could still be in his name?
It's possible.
Did you have any, was there any negotiating that went on between you and Fabio Sementilli regarding any of the new benefits that were being offered by the company?
No.
So he just had to fill out the form and return it to you?
Employees went online to make their selections, right? So he would have gone online and submitted his selections for the 2017 year.
And they would go to you?
I would see them in the system if I needed to confirm anything.
Was there a procedure whereby an employee, either he or anyone else, could have contacted you and tried to negotiate a different amount or a different benefit?
No.
So this was a take it or leave it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Except for the amounts that he wanted to contribute or pay for a different policy or a better policy or so forth?
That's correct.
And that's when we got into the 2 times versus 3 times?
Yes.
What about in the healthcare field? Was there just one healthcare provider or policy that was being offered?
I believe we had 2 medical plans that employees could choose from.
And he chose one of the 2, is that
Correct.
correct? Do you know if it was the better one or not?
They were all equally of equal value.
Okay. It was just personal
Exactly, personal preference or choice.
and different companies?
It may have been the same carrier. I'm not sure. It's been a while.
Okay. One had the gold plan, one had the silver plan.
Right.
And this included medical and dental,
That's correct.
and for the wife and the children.
Yes.
And was there a limit to how long the policy would be in effect for the children based on their age?
Age 26. Dependents age out.
Did you know for a fact that the salary of Fabio's salary was paid out over a period of the 6 months, or do you know if it was stopped?
I don't know if it was stopped. I know it at least commenced at the time we made the decision on the policy.
Okay. And you don't know, you were aware at some point of the arrest of Monica Sementilli, is that right?
I'll allow it.
Yes.
Did you take any steps at that point regarding the salary to be continued or not to be continued?
No, the only part I had in that was my manager informed me we were changing the policy, so to update the policy and just to make sure that none of the benefits terminated earlier than the 6 months that we agreed upon.
You were changing the health policies?
Yes, so I don't know, but the policy may still exist that if something like this happens again, we would treat an employee the same way.
But health and dental and so forth remain in effect for 6 months?
That's correct.
For the children and for her?
Yeah, everybody he had covered under the plan.
Were you ever, following the, well, let me ask you this. At any time during the pendency of this case, were you ever interviewed by the police or the detectives who were in charge of the investigation?
I believe initially I spoke to a detective Tellis around the time Monica was arrested.
Okay. And was that just one interview?
Yes.
And without going into the details, did you basically relay the information that you've relayed to us?
Yes.
Anything different?
Not that I recollect.
You had not met Monica personally?
That's correct, no.
Anything you knew about her reactions following the death of her husband would have been based on what someone had told you.
Correct.
What about with the district attorney's office? Did you ever meet with any of the district attorneys in this case concerning Fabio and Monica?
Yes.
And who did you meet with?
Beth.
Okay. And about how many times?
Maybe 4 to 5.
And phone conversations?
Yes.
All right. I assume that many of those or some of those had to do with scheduling.
What kind of scheduling?
When you would be
yes.
available to
Yes.
testify and so forth.
Yes, correct.
Apart from that, were you ever interviewed concerning any of the facts of the case concerning Fabio Sementilli, what you've testified here today, or any other questions?
No.
Were you asked whether or not you had ever met or seen Fabio?
Other than here, no.
So nothing of any detail that you haven't relayed to us today?
That's correct.
How closely did you work with Mr. Meyer, specifically regarding this case involving Monica, obviously Fabio Sementilli?
We worked fairly close together, mainly around the status of the life insurance and what was holding it up. And I think those were the main questions where we were interacting.
And did he contact you inquiring about what was holding it up, or did you contact him, or how did that work?
It may have been both. He was reaching out on behalf of Monica to see the status, and if I knew the status or an update I could give him, I would have reached out to him.
At any time did you find out what the status was?
Just that it was not being paid,
Okay.
absent the law enforcement information.
So you learned that it was law enforcement that was holding it up. Is that right?
Yes.
Was that communicated to you by law enforcement or by MetLife or by both?
I believe MetLife.
At that point, I assume you indicated this was beyond your control.
Yes.
And did you inform Monica of that?
I did not speak to her directly, but it may have been informed through Henry or Janet.
So I take it you took no steps to speed up the process. You just found out what the reason was.
That's correct.
And who was that relayed to?
The status of the life insurance
Yes.
would probably have been relayed to most likely Henry or Janet.
Okay. They were the ones who were having direct communications with Monica.
Correct. Yes.
Can I have 1 minute, John?
All right.
The claim process involved the preparation of a claim form. Is that correct?
Yes.
Can you tell us how detailed that claim form was?
It's fairly detailed on the employer side. Like I said, it was the employee's name, address, the coverages he had, the effective date of the coverages, amounts of coverage. Going off of memory, that's what I recollect on the form.
And what about the claim form to be filled out by the claimant, in this case, Monica Sementilli?
The only piece I recall is just like indicative data, like address and things like that, because I just put it together. I didn't really look at her piece of it just to get the claim paid.
It did require a death certificate,
Yes.
correct? And was a death certificate obtained at some point?
Yes,
And included with the claim form?
correct.
Do you recall anything else about the claim form that would stand out?
No, it was just a typical
Standard claim
standard
form?
process. Yes,
Okay. And that would include just the amount that was due,
yes,
the death certificate, and the parties that were making the claim.
that's
Is that right?
correct.
Is that the same with Luigi Sementilli?
Luigi did not submit a claimant statement. It only came from Monica.
How did he get paid then?
He got paid by MetLife, and I would assume there's information when they're paying the beneficiaries to confirm the beneficiary designation, but that was nothing I sent.
And do you know if he had a separate
Let me take this opportunity to break for lunch. We'll be recessed until 1:30. The evidence applies not to discuss this case either among yourselves or with anyone else or perform express any opinions of the cause is finally submitted to you. Have a good lunch.